Rolling along with the Friday edition, Drew and KB broadcasting live statewide from Buffalo Wild Wings, Milwaukee, Capitol Drive. We are football feasting today. The Drew and KB show from 3 to 5, the football feast from 5 to 7.
And you know what? That music can only mean one thing.
What's that?
Well, Daryl Hall has a restraining order against John Oates.
I was going to bring it up.
He will never be restrained.
Oh, no.
He will never be restrained because he carries the G. And with that G, he has the all-access laminate to go anywhere he wants. It is none other than Aaron Nagler of Cheesehead TV.
What's up, Nags?
Gentlemen, happy Victory Friday. Also, how freaking depressing is that story? My God. Like, I'm just trying to live my life, where I can count on Daryl Hall and John Oates being best of friends and going off into the sunset together as far as their career goes. But no, now we get this breaking news that they're suing each other and, like, they're at odds. And, man, you know, I'm just trying to enjoy my Victory Friday.
That's
right.
it. Let's just enjoy it. We just
Sorry
drank
to
from
bring
the-
you down, Nags.
We just
That's
drank
all
from the chalice of Detroit fan tears, and it's been a long time since the Packers beat
Let's
the Lions. Now,
go.
as you know.
Yes, sir.
And we're just chatting, and the Packers, that's their best game. It's the first time we've seen complimentary football in a long time.
Long time.
Long time. They had some great performances. Rashawn Gary, obviously Jordan Love, the referendum, Jonathan Owens, Kenny Clark getting pressure up front. Those guys up front making it happen. Kingsley and Nagbari not getting fooled on a fake punt at all, holding the edge. Like, they did things right. But the play that I keep going back to, Nags, and I thought of you as I was watching it yesterday, and I think I saw your reaction online, was the touchdown pass to Jaden Reed through traffic. And I'm flashing back, and I'm thinking, that looked like Rodgers in the Super Bowl to Jennings against the Steelers.
Right.
And then I find out that this was indeed a happy accident, that Christian Watson ran the wrong route.
Yeah, Watson was in the wrong spot. I think Love mentioned that in his post game. But look, it didn't bother Jordan Love any. He fit it right in there like a laser. And I will say, I think the Watson thing is, I suspect they were trying to utilize him with some of the stuff they have done with Musgrave over the last couple weeks, but with Musgrave now on IR, I think they were trying to utilize him that way, but I think he was definitely in the wrong spot on that play.
Okay, but to the point of being that KB used the analogy before about a light switch flipping, which we saw last year towards the end of the year when they got hot. We saw Christian Watson's switch flip in the Dallas game when he emerged.
Right.
And maybe the worm is turning because earlier this season, when guys ran wrong routes, they brought their defender into an area and it was a pick.
Right.
And this one went through and was a touchdown. And then we had, Matt LaFleur's bitching at the refs, and he has calling a play for the wrong down and distance.
He thought it was first
down.
down.
And it ends up being a touchdown.
Yep. You love it.
So
you love it.
Okay. It has the worm turned. Is the market correcting? Are the Packers starting to get breaks? Because we always say you make your own breaks. Are they making their own breaks?
I think there's a bit of that, right? I think there's also something to what we heard from Brian Gutekunst earlier this season. Remember, Brian spoke right after the trade deadline, and things were pretty damn bleak around 1265 Lombardi at that point. And he said, look, we're going to, this thing's going to play out. They had just traded Rasul. I think there were a lot of questions. They were losing games. They couldn't win a game. But he said, look, we trust this process. We know there's a lot of youth on this team. They're going to continue to play. We haven't got the results yet, but we trust what we're doing. And I think that trust is paying off. To your point, on offense, it's clear that guys know where the hell they're going now. You know what I mean? The adjustments are in sync, albeit that one play from Christian notwithstanding. But for the most part, you see a group that has now played 10, 11 games together, that has kind of started to get on the same page. And I think that was the expectation. Certainly there were some seriously frustrating moments at the start of the season. I don't think anything totally unexpected from the Packers side of things, but it's nice. It's nice to see some of that patience being paid off because, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say, look, if that had continued, everything we saw, say, during the 4-game losing streak, how inept they were in the first half of some of those games, if that continues throughout the second half of the season, there's probably a serious reckoning to be had. But it looks like, and look, we got many games to play yet, it looks like that patience is paying off.
Well, I found it interesting that they chose to receive the ball, and the only thought that came to my mind was okay, they've been giving up the ball. The other team has been scoring, and we've had to have Jordan Love play from behind immediately.
Right. Yep.
So we're not going to do that. But the other thing that I loved was the story that they told about the first play of the game, where LaFleur talked to Love the night before, was changing the first play, and he went, "Nah, let's keep this.
Let's keep it. Let's go."
And
look,
but he led
Love
him,
it.
and
Yep.
that is huge.
Yep.
it is big time. And clearly, I think you ask any quarterback, he wants to keep that play in, right? You want to go deep first play of the game, hopefully hit a home run. And to your point, Matt, kind of trusting his quarterback to do it right. Like if the look's not there, you can't just throw it. But they got the look they wanted. Christian's open. Obviously a bit of an underthrown ball, but Christian made the play. There's the other thing. How good was Christian Watson yesterday? I mean, there has been a lot of talk around Christian over the course of this season. Not a lot of it good. But man, he came to play yesterday. Some really outstanding work. Both the obvious stuff, the touchdown catch is amazing, a lot of really good catches. But in the run game as well, he's showing a physicality, a tenacity that I think maybe was missing earlier this season, but it's nice to see him finally kind of flipping that switch, so to speak.
We are chatting with Aaron Nagler, Cheesehead TV.com, and our conversations with Nags are presented by Miller Lite. They're selling a lot of it here at Buffalo Wild Wings. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference in Rogers Behavioral Health. All right, Nags, so Jordan Love opened some eyes and dropped some jaws yesterday league-wide. People saw that and they go, oh, maybe the Packers do have another one. How about that?
Right.
This season is a referendum on Jordan Love. The only thing that really mattered this season was finding out whether he can play. It looks like he can fit the suit. Now, the other referendum, the guy who's been on double secret probation, is one Joseph Berry. And with a patchwork glued together spit and duct tape secondary,
Seriously,
they went in and beat a legit offense. What does it say about Joe Barry? Were we wrong? Do we need to recalibrate our analysis of Joe Barry's impact on the Packers? Is he more secure than we think? Is he better than we think? Where are you on Joe Barry?
I think yesterday, to your point about getting on the front foot, right, as far as, okay, we're going to take the ball. They almost always defer. The fact that they took the ball, went aggressive really early, and got a lead, that's the type of defense they're designed to be. As far as, okay, we're going to play with a lead. We're going to be on the front foot as far as our, guys up front. They're going to be able to get after the quarterback because we know you got to make up ground. This is the design. This is how this defense is put together as far as we are going to get after your quarterback. They're not great at stopping the run. Like you said, a lot of inexperience in the secondary. But, man, if you've got to throw it, we know we can get after you. And that's what they did yesterday. I don't think it changes a whole lot as far as the perception of Joe other than, look, the offense finally held up their end of the bargain. We've talked a lot about this season. How many times have they had games where they've held teams to 18, 17, 20 points? In the NFL, you should win some of those games. And the Packers just hadn't been because the offense hadn't given them anything. But in a league where if you score 23 plus, you're probably going to win. Finally they did that. And even then, they scored 29 points. Lions almost made it a game there at the end, scored 22. If they can just hover around that, keeping teams 20 and under, they're going to win some games.
Just saw your boy Andy Herman post that over the last 16 games, the Packers are allowing 19.5 points per game.
This is my
the
point.
only game that the team's gone over 25, the Lions in Week 4 when they crushed them.
When they were up 24-3 at half, exactly.
So, yes, Joe Barry looks a lot smarter when Kenny Clark is getting pushed and disruptive, and he's getting pressures all over the place. And when Rashawn Gary plays like one of the marquee guys, Max Crosby, Aiden Hutchinson. By the way, did Aiden Hutchinson
He was invisible yesterday. It was amazing.
Yes, he
was. For a
was.
guy who absolutely wrecked them, and I mean absolutely dominated them up front last September or this past September, he was taken care of. Just Zach Tom had a great game, but the whole front did a number on him.
KB, the LaFleur weaseled out of this, but if you had to give a game ball to either the offensive line or the defensive line, who gets it?
I was just going to say this, that if you could only give out one game ball and who had the greatest impact on the game yesterday, I'm giving it to the offensive line, because without that offensive line, there would have been no Christian Watson big game, and there wouldn't have been a Jordan Love big game, plain and simple.
Yep, absolutely. And look, they dominated up front on both sides of the ball. And it's been a rare occurrence this season where both fronts are playing lights out ball. But, man, both offensively and defensively, they own the line of scrimmage. Something, like I said, we haven't gotten real used to this season, but they did it yesterday.
So let me ask you this, Nags. If you're sitting there in the general manager's chair, and let's say a team like, oh, I don't know, the New York Jets come knocking, and they want another old Packer player, do you give them David Bakhtiari?
Man, why can't I just marinate in the victory?
Yeah.
Why you got to fast forward to the offseason?
No, I'm just saying.
I think there's
I'm
a lot
coming off the heels.
I know. I
Coming
hear
off the
you.
heels of good offensive line play.
Right.
You know,
And
is there hope?
I think regardless, a tackle is going to be a target in the draft. I don't think there's any question there. It all depends. Everything's negotiable, right? If they come calling unexpectedly, much like the Bills did out of nowhere, offering something for Rasul, and they think the price is right, yeah, I think there's a possibility that occurs. I know, obviously, Aaron Rodgers would love it. I think Dave would love to play with Aaron again. I also think Dave would love to play in Green Bay next year. I do think there's a possibility it happens, but again, it depends on the offer. If they come trying to weasel some day 3 pick, forget it, man. But if it's a premium selection, yeah, it'd be hard to say no.
All right, Nags, it's a week-to-week league, and this can all come crashing down.
Very, very true.
Sunday at
Very
Lambeau
true.
Field against the Chiefs, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's a
gonna
tough
be an
defense too,
interesting-
by the way. The
Yes,
Chiefs.
that's-
Now, how fun is it that Jordan Love? We all remember his first start, where Spagnuolo basically blitzed him into oblivion. I mean, both Jordan and Matt probably want to do over on that one. So that I'm excited to watch that one. Definitely.
And they got a little extra time to get a game plan ready for this.
Yep.
And it's going to be
Yeah,
very interesting how they approach that.
Here's what scares me about that game. They still haven't figured out that more often than not, the tight ends will work to the middle of the field.
Yeah, they're pretty terrible against tight ends. Coming into the Detroit game, they were ranked, I think it's 25th in DVOA against tight ends as far as defense goes. It's not good. And Laporta, he had a good game yesterday. He probably should have had 3 or 4 more receptions
Easily.
if the pressure hadn't been what it was. That was the other thing. There were times when he's breaking open and Goff is just a tick off on the throw because he's got dudes in his face. So they're going to have to continue to replicate that because I don't see that changing anytime soon as far as how the Packers are able to work on the back end when it comes to tight ends. And guess what? Guess who's coming to town? That'd be Travis Kelce. So that's going to be a good
Travis Kelce,
time.
who's one of the best. Absolutely. All right, next. So is it wrong to recalibrate here in midseason and say, playoffs aren't that far out of reach?
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Can we say playoffs? Can we playoffs?
Playoffs? I joked on my chat last night. I'm just trying to enjoy the win. But sure, yeah, the door's open now, right? You got to think with their performances the last 3 or 4 weeks, they really sucks they dropped that one in Pittsburgh. But, yeah, the door's open.
Well,
they got to keep
Sucks that
winning,
they dropped
obviously.
that one
but,
in Las Vegas and Denver, too.
yeah, but look, that was a different team, right? They weren't even functional on offense yet. Now they are, and they were in Pittsburgh, and they certainly were in Detroit. So, yeah, man, anything can happen. Look, the Lions were, 1-6 last year, and we're on the doorstep of the playoffs. You're sitting here at, 5-6? I mean, the run-the-table year, they started 4-6, right? Anything is possible, but you got to take it a game at a time.
Let's take
And
it
if you
a game
look
a
at
time.
the second-place teams in the other divisions, Seahawks are 6-5, Falcons are 4-6.
Yeah.
Vikings are 6-5, Packers are 5-6. The Vikings will fall to the bottom, guaranteed.
That's the hope.
Vikings play 2 of their last 3 against Detroit.
Love
Yes.
that. Love that
And
matchup.
Detroit could be playing for home field or play. You never know.
Never know. Nags, carry that G, brother. I bought 2 4-packs the other day.
That's what I like to hear. Good
baby,
man,
it's gonna
good
be
man.
sweet this weekend. They're going to be consumed on Sunday on a Packer-free Sunday on the couch, just rolling through the NFL.
Those are the best of times. A anxiety-free Sunday watching NFL football is gold. Love it.
Exactly. Have a great weekend, Nags.
Thanks a lot, gentlemen. Talk to you next week.
Bye, Nags.
Go Pack.
All right.